Greetings to readers, viewers, and listeners. Welcome to this next edition of the Autistic Superblog's The Hot Take. This one is going to be a continuation of a previous version of The Hot Take where I spoke about lifting other people's voices. And indeed, it's incredibly important for organizations and people to talk and to speak up for each other. Um, I know I've mentioned in the past in the on my blog, autisticsuperblog.wordpress.com, that I've actually been speaking about how my poetry helps me to deal with those big emotions, those big feelings that I'm sure we all feel with depression, anxiety, rejection, all that stuff. And it's hard to really rely on yourself when you're dealing with all these big emotions all at once. It really can get it really can get tough, and um that's the reason why I want to talk about. No, I mean this comes on the app in the this comes as SANUS, the self advocacy association in New York State is having their annual conference, and I saw their motto, which is lifting everyone's voice, and I thought that was pretty impressive. And I wanted to tie it to everyone in the disability community. I wanted to explain why I feel like lifting up other people's voices is important. I mentioned in my last blog post that art that the arts have really helped me out in general. That the arts and poetry specifically have helped me out in general. I've made no bones about the fact about how much I love libraries and how much they've helped me out during their time. I've made no bones about the fact that um that a that a wonderful librarian friend, the late Larry Burke from SUNY Ulster, um, I God rest his soul, um, gave me the platform with my poetry to not only help myself but help others out. Um, and I've mentioned about how the Sargis Artist Studio Tour is a place where I feel like I'm accepted in my poetry scheme. I mean, I feel like my voice can get out there, and if I'm open about myself as an autistic individual, I'm able to help myself and help others in the process. I mentioned, I mentioned this not only I mentioned this not only as an autistic artist and an autistic poet, but as a self advocate as well, and also someone who wears a lot of hats as part of the Global and Regional Asperger's Syndrome Partnership's outreach coordinator. So I want to just explain why all these things matter, and also someone who's supported with the Artman Hudson. I want to just touch on why these things matter, why it's important for us to speak up, why it's important for us to lift each other up when we're dealing with problems in our lives. As mentioned in previous podcasts or blog posts, I've been dealing with something called autistic burnout, which I've gotten myself through thanks to the wonderful thanks to a wonderful group of friends who've really been there for me. Like I'm talking about DSPs, I'm talking about wonderful friends out there. And I mentioned them before, Grasp, which you can find out at grasp.org, by the way, and the Artman Hudson. And I also want to say just how important it is for us to kind of help each other out. I mean, if someone's struggling with something, as a guy, you're always told to keep it in, to always feel like no one should hear about it, no one should talk about it, no one should hear about it other than yourself. And that's torture. That's torture for anyone. I'm just speaking as a guy myself. Um, I'm just saying that it could be hell to really like have that healthy outlook to really give yourself the ability to make your voice heard in a helpful and impactful way. That's what poetry did for me, and that's what I try and do with my poetry. I mean, I want to be able to get my feelings out there, but I always want to bring out a little bit of hope too. Um, and Asking for help is a big ask, especially for me. It's one of the things that got me in autistic burnout to begin with. Um, but I'm getting used to asking for help, but sometimes it feels a little difficult. That's where that's where it means a lot for other people to notice what you're going through, or to see that you're struggling, to see that you're going through a lot of mental problems, to see that you're going through a lot of hardships, and really support you when you need help. Just as I've had done by other individuals, some of which I consider some of my best friends. Um, I always feel like myself as a poet, I always like to feel like I want to encourage others to speak up for themselves. I've mentioned the Artman Hudson and the fact that I'm part of the literacy program for the Artman Hudson. One of the things I like to do is use games to help others to kind of have fun and entertain. Kind of helps me out as a game show fan, but it also the games that I have teach something in particular. It teaches things like making your own choices, or dealing with things that might be unexpected. Um, Dealing with letters you might think wouldn't work, but they do work. One of them in particular I want to touch on is called Poetic Concentration, which I do in April. Um, and Myself as a poet, I want to be able to make sure that I can break the ice. One of the things I like to do with the players is that I never ask them to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. So for me, I always ask them for 5 letters, and they give me a title to work on a cinquain, and I show them how I do it, or I show them how easy it is for me to do, and it kind of inspires them, kind of like Drew Carey's hole in one or two. But that's kind of the whole idea when it comes to expressing yourself through poetry, through art, through any kind of thing you want to do. Even banding together as a bunch of friends for a party. Um, those are just some of the things, or just having a support group um, to kind of help not only checking on you, but also checking on other people, because what you're going through, maybe the other people are going through as well. And it just feels so wonderful to know that other people are there to help. Um, and sometimes it can mean the world. It really, 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 really can. So I just want to encourage anyone that's going up there not only to lift each other up when they're feeling down, but also to lift yourself up when you're feeling down. I mean, give yourself the grace to kind of feel your emotions, but don't let them weigh you down. I've been learning thanks to a wonderful friend of mine that I, I there's a thing between there's a fine line between being humble and being self depreciating. I want to be able to be humble, but I also don't want to break myself down too much that I don't give myself the grace that I know I need at times. And I want to be able to use my voice to kind of help others out. It's kind of the reason why I did why I'm doing the Autistic Super Channel to begin with. It was this was my way, and it is still my way to kind of let other people know that they're not alone, especially when it came to the COVID pandemic and all that stuff. So, um, I just want to encourage everyone to not just not think not think yourself as any better than them, but rather to help them out when they need things, or even if it's a listening ear, even if it's even if you have even if you want to go to dinner with them, or at least to have them unload on you. Sometimes it may seem like a lot, but it really can mean a lot in the long term. I know of several friends who always reach out to me when they're feeling when they're dealing with problems, and I'm always happy to as a bartender's son. But I always like to make sure I check in on my friends that really need it. I always like to make sure everyone has a chance to get a say in how they're feeling, and everyone gets a chance to have their turn to have a head to have their chances their chance to be the head of the table. Notice what I did there with the Roman Reigns gimmick. Some of the people that I've mentioned are in the links in the description of this video. And if you guys want to support them, please, please, please do so. And maybe you can use like the ARC or the Autism Society to kind of help them or kind of throw it to them. But I also want to talk about Grass too. I mean, these guys are really wonderful people. I mean, and Grass deserves some love too. So descriptions in the video are so just links are in the descriptions. Please, please support them if you can. Like donate or do anything you can to help them out because you may not realize just how important it is for everyone else out there. So this is going to be my short 10, 11-minute video on this subject. So if you like these videos, please like, share, and subscribe. And please subscribe here to the Autistic Super Channel on YouTube. You can check me out on X, Facebook, all that good stuff. You can check out all my videos on the Autistic Super blog to WordPress.com. Until everyone, until next post, dear readers and viewers and listeners, please, please, please stay strong, stay safe, be kind to each other, show grace to each other, and as always, shine on.